Working for my uncle was never supposed to be permanent. I'd just finished college, had a marketing degree and a minor in design, and no clear idea what to do next. So when Uncle Rick offered me a temp gig at the family's construction and renovation business, I took it. It was supposed to last a few months, maybe a year at most. That was 3 years ago. The company was small, locally owned, but growing. My uncle ran the business. My cousin Jared, his golden boy, was next in line and made sure everyone knew it. He mostly handled client meetings and branding, though he barely skimmed my reports and couldn't tell a vector file from a Word doc. Meanwhile, was the one doing the actual work. I redesigned the company's logo, revamped the website, started an Instagram presence, and managed client presentations. I even wrote the pitch deck that landed our biggest contract last fall, but Jared got the credit. Every single time. I wasn't just overlooked, I was invisible. "Great pitch, Jared," Uncle Rick said one afternoon, after a client call I'd prepped for days. Jared smiled. "Thanks, but it's a team effort." That was his favorite line. It made him sound humble, while saying everything without saying it. I didn't speak up. Not because I didn't want to, but because in a family business, complaining means you're not a team player. It got worse last spring. We landed a huge client, a boutique hotel chain expanding into our area. Big money, big opportunity. Jared promised Uncle Rick he'd handle the whole thing personally, except I did the research. I built the decks. I crafted the designs for the model rooms and even mocked up the promotional collateral. Jared sent them off under his name, and they loved it. "You nailed our brand," the client wrote back. "Looking forward to meeting the creative behind this." Jared smirked at the email and said, "Guess I'll need to brush up on my buzzwords." It hit a breaking point one afternoon when I overheard him on the phone. "Yeah, I put together that whole pitch package myself. It was brutal," he laughed, "but worth it." He knew I was standing in the next room, didn't even flinch. Later that week, I confronted him in the break room. "You know that was all my work, right?" He didn't even look up from his phone. "It's all family, dude. We win together." "But it's my name that's missing." "So what? You want a gold star?" "I want the credit I earned," he shrugged. "If you want to be a solo star, go freelance. But don't bite the hand that feeds you." That was it. That was the moment I realized he didn't see me as family, just as a shadow behind his spotlight. Still, I stayed, because I believed in the work, and part of me hoped someone, anyone, would notice. Turns out someone did, and that someone wasn't family. About a week after our hotel proposal was approved, Jared got an email that made his tone shift. I was walking past his desk when I heard him say, "Wait, they what? They want who?" He looked up, made eye contact with me, and quickly minimized his screen. A few minutes later, Uncle Rick called a quick meeting. It was just the three of us in the conference room, the one with the too long table and the Keurig that hadn't worked right in months. Uncle Rick looked annoyed. Jared looked rattled. "So the hotel client," Jared began, trying to sound casual, They want to meet with you." I blinked. "Me?" "Yeah, they specifically asked for you, by name. Now let me be clear. The client shouldn't have known my name. My contact info wasn't on the proposal. Jared had removed my credentials from the file, but apparently, someone on their team had dug through our public LinkedIn profiles after seeing the design mock-ups, and one of them remembered me from an old portfolio competition I'd placed in. Turns out they'd followed my work for years. "We didn't know she worked with you," the email said. "Would love to have her join the next round of creative meetings." And just like that, Jared's whole house of cards wobbled. Uncle Rick looked between us and sighed. "Look, it's not a big deal. You'll just sit in, maybe say a few things. Jared's still leading the account." But Jared's jaw was tight. "They think she did all the work," he muttered. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. The truth was crawling its way into the room without my help. That week, I joined my first major client meeting, not as the silent assistant behind the screen, but as an equal at the table. And the moment I opened my mouth, I knew everything had changed. I walked them through my creative process, explained why I made the branding choices I did, and even suggested a few ideas we hadn't pitched yet. The client ate it up. "This is exactly what we were hoping for," one of the execs said. "This energy, it's what sold us on your firm." They meant me, and everyone in the room knew it. Jared said almost nothing the entire meeting. His usual confident smirk was gone. He looked like someone slowly realizing the mask no longer fit. Back at the office, I expected him to lash out, but he was quiet, distant. 2 days later, Uncle Rick called me into his office. "You're doing good work," he said carefully. "Really good, just keep things smooth, all right? No need to stir the pot. Translation, don't embarrass my son." I nodded, but inside, something was shifting. I wasn't angry, not anymore. I was tired, and I was done waiting for permission to be seen. So I made a choice. I updated my LinkedIn, added all the projects I'd been behind the scenes on. I posted some of my unused branding drafts. I even uploaded a short design breakdown reel. I didn't name names. I didn't call anyone out. I just started telling the truth. One piece at a time, and within a week, I got an email that changed everything. The email subject line read, "We'd like to talk." It was from a creative director at a well-known regional design agency. I remembered meeting her once years ago during college. She'd been one of the judges at a senior showcase where I'd presented a pitch deck mock-up for a small community project. "Saw your recent post about the hotel branding work," her email said. "I followed your work before, but this one really stood out. Any interest in chatting about a potential role with us?" My stomach dropped. They were legit. Higher pay, creative freedom, a bigger platform, and most importantly, they saw me. I didn't tell anyone right away. Not even my parents. Instead, I scheduled a phone call over my lunch break and talked to the director while sitting in my car in the parking lot, windows cracked, heart pounding. She was kind, warm, direct. "You've got a voice that deserves to be heard, not hidden. We don't just want your skills. We want your vision." It was the first time in years I'd felt like more than someone's helper. Back inside, I tried to go back to work, but everything felt different. Jared was pacing the hall, loudly talking, into his phone about redefining our pitch strategy and streamlining creative language, code for trying to reassert control. But something else had shifted too. The hotel client? They kept emailing me directly. They CC'd Jared out of formality, but it was clear who they trusted now. One afternoon, I walked by the break room and overheard Jared whispering to Uncle Rick. "I don't know what she's trying to prove." "She's not trying," Rick said. "She's proving it." That week, I got assigned to 2 new client accounts, directly. No Jared in between, just me and Uncle Rick. That was when Jared lost it. "She's hijacking the company," he snapped, during a staff meeting. "You're letting her make all the creative calls now?" "She's the reason we even have those accounts," our office manager mumbled, just loud enough for everyone to hear. Jared stared at her like she'd slapped him, but no one came to his defense. Later that day, he cornered me in the hallway. "So what, you think you're better than me now?" "No," I said. "I think I've always been better at this part of the job." He scoffed, but he didn't argue. Instead, he said something that told me exactly how far gone he was. "Good. Luck doing all this without a family name to back you." That was the moment I knew. He still thought I needed him. He had no idea what was coming. That night, I accepted the offer from the agency, sent the signed contract. 2-week notice ready to go, and then, as a final, quiet move, I scheduled a meeting with the hotel client. Not to say goodbye, to hand off the account, but not to Jared. To a junior designer I'd been mentoring for months, someone talented, overlooked, and all too familiar with being behind the scenes. I didn't want to make a scene, so I called a meeting with the hotel client first thing Monday morning. Not at the office, but over video at their request. Jared expected to lead it, of course, but when the Zoom window opened, they immediately asked, "Where's Ali?" He froze. I joined the call 2 minutes later. I could see the flicker of recognition in their eyes. There's the one who did the work. I greeted them, calm and confident, and then said something Jared didn't expect. This will be my last meeting with you as part of Rickson Contracting. I've accepted a new role elsewhere. There was a moment of silence. Then one of the hotel execs leaned forward and said, "We were afraid of that. Congratulations. You've more than earned it." I nodded, then turned to introduce Lena, the junior designer I'd mentored. I had brought her up to speed, walked her through all the past files, gave her the full reins. She was ready. "She's the new lead." "On your account," I said, "and she's great." Jared didn't say a word the whole time. He sat there, stunned, as the client warmly welcomed Lena and thanked me for everything. When the call ended, I walked into Uncle Rick's office and handed in my resignation in writing. He looked disappointed, but not surprised. "You're a big loss," he said. "I was always here," I replied. "You just weren't looking." Jared tried to spin it for a few days. He told some staff I'd burned out, that I wasn't cut out for the business long term, but it didn't stick. The hotel client ended up calling Uncle Rick directly and made one thing clear. "We'll stay, but only if she stays in charge of the creative. No substitutions," and Lena delivered. She brought her own flair, ran every meeting with professionalism, and kept the account not just alive, but thriving. I heard through the grapevine that Jared was quietly removed from several more projects. After that, clients didn't want to work with someone who clearly didn't know what he was doing. His star dimmed fast. As for me, I started my new job with the agency a week later. For the first time in years, I had my own title, my own team, and my name on every single file I created. No more shadows. No more stolen credit. A few months later, I got an email from Jared. Just 3 words. "You happy now?" I didn't respond. Not because I was bitter. I just didn't have anything left to say. I was already too busy doing what I loved, and finally being seen for it.